Hello, Astro friends. Melanie here, a little bit later than usually. It's the 10th of July already, 2025. And yes, we're 1.5 hours post the full moon in Capricorn Cancer, which kept me super busy. Hence my apology for delay of the video. So the Astro News blog article is out, and those of you who are on the email newsletter recipient list should have also received that one. And here we go with the video. So what's up with this full moon? Really a hardcore, somebody said rocky. Yes, definitely also rocky emotionally for lots of us. The Capricorn full moon, and challenging, right? So Capricorn is the most challenging physically, typically, and resource-wise, also a challenging sign in the zodiac. And things come to a head with a full moon. Things are coming to a full light, and then it rolls out after the full moon with the waning phase. It's called a dispensation. It's basically a release effect. But a lot has built up for that one, and we've seen it a lot also in the discussions in the US, DOJ, and so on. And let's look at the chart of that full moon. And that's our starting point today, and super acute, of course, um, for the initiation of the Astro Week in this case as well. So here is the full moon. The moon here in mid Capricorn, 18-19 degrees, and close to the star Vega, which is the brightest star in the constellation of Lyra. And that has its own lore, mythology, and significance as well, activated by the full moon. A little bit about that later. And then we have here the sun and Jupiter wrapping around the Fixed Stars Sirius, the brightest star in our night sky. In fact, Sirius versus Vega are activated in this full moon polarity. Plus, we have also, to take stock for starters, right, Capricorn wise, we also have Chiron here, end of Aries. And I forgot to pencil here the ST because Chiron is already stationary, winding down to go retrograde from July 30th on, and that is a wide T square. So this is really that constellation. Plus we have also in early Aries, Saturn, Neptune, now super close together. Closest they will get this year will be July 12th. Plus Uranus is freshly in Gemini. So there's a lot going on. Let's start with the full moon again. Full moon, as I said, brings things to fruition. In this case, it has to do also with what I call the old empire with Capricorn, where Pluto has gone through from 2008 till 2024. So this is still a review of that, so to say, where things become shady, shadowy, and the Capricorn dark side comes out. In other words, oppression and abuse, and yeah, so power abuse, especially power from the Pluto perspective, and authority abuse and repression and all of this, right? So where things even are swiped under the rug, nothing to see here. That's very much Pluto. It's about hiding, and often this is the mechanism of power via hiding and via oppressing, right? So and also it's about resources. So with Capricorn, always important for us to take note where we are resourceful ourselves and where we might be exhausting our resources. In other words, our time, our energy, our money, our life force, and what the responsible course of action would be, right? That's Capricorn. Be mature, be responsible, think long term. All of this is Capricorn. On the other side, so also in terms of Vega, actually, sorry, the Vega part is a story of love, unrequited love, love lost, all sorts of drama and pain and suffering in the whole romantic department. So with that, that can come up for you as well. Maybe you feel abandoned. Maybe you feel not respected. Maybe you feel left to your own devices. All these things can come up with Capricorn and in combination with that Vega star. On the other hand, we have Sirius and we have Sun and Jupiter. That's so much more light and there's so much more freedom in that, because Sirius is also the star that has a lot to do with liberation. It's also exactly aligned with the Sun, or the other way around, the Sun meets Sirius in central Cancer, which is accentuated in the charts of the United States and Canada, and even a little bit of France, right? July 1st, 4th, and 14th are these countries that have a Sun-Sirius connection. So Sirius is liberation, and this is what the spirit, the bigger picture here with Jupiter, right, wants us to, right? Not being bogged down, not being dragged into all sorts of power dynamics and back to the old system, to the old empire, and losing so much time and energy in that mode, right? So we need to move on, move up, be freer. And this is also what Pluto in Aquarius calls us to, as the moon approaches Pluto. Will be with Pluto tomorrow, the 11th, and then activating Pluto, but also activating indirectly this trine with Uranus. Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, will be is already in early Gemini and will also receive this trine from the moon. And so their connection, their trine connection, is on this summer, exact end of August, and will be also still or again on next summer, 2026 and 2027. Just looking at the trine when it's exact. Don't see it right now, but it's in August. Anyway, take my word for it. But it's active. It's active especially in August. And what's that all about? So a trine is an opportunity. This is an air trine. So there's opportunities to learn, to also get transparency and get new relationships going, especially through like-minded people. That is very Gemini and also Aquarius, right? And also through systems. Systems are changing. Freedom is coming in. Humanity is waking up. Humanity demands more transparency, sharing, contributing. All of this is very Aquarian. And with Gemini, it has to do also with their minds and with the news, with learning, with connecting the dots. So all of this can create lots of paradigm shifts and surprise effects, even shocks, right, with Uranus. And so this is now kicked off. This is the first full moon after Uranus entered Gemini. And it's also the full moon, the first full moon that activates the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. It was already activated with the new moon in Cancer in square to it, but now we see maybe some effects are coming to fruition even from that 2-week period, but in a bigger scale also, the Capricorn side is kicking in. So in other words, what's with that transition into a new era, which Saturn and Neptune together herald, and what does it have to do from the Capricorn side with work, with solid and traditional structures, with top-down authority, with our own longevity, aging well. All of that is very Capricorn. It's about the elders as well. So this is elder energy in Capricorn. This is baby energy in Aries, right? So it's also a contrast between, so to say, grandparents and babies. And we're taking baby steps into a whole new era. I believe I said that last time or referred to it. Here it is again. I researched when Saturn and Neptune were together in Aries and whether they were together in early Aries ever or in the last 2,000 years. No, they were together in various degrees of Aries every about how many times are they together in Aries? They're together every 37 years and about 200, 300, that's an estimate, right? They are together in Aries. So in the last 2,000 years, they were together in Aries about 4 or 5 times, but never at the first degree. And the first degree is a really critical point because that's when the zodiac starts, that's where a whole new cycle starts, and with these slow-moving planets already indicating a new era with Aries extra emphasized, right? So this is huge, and Saturn and Neptune are coming now, the closest together this year on July 12th, just as Saturn, shy of meeting Neptune, goes retrograde and backs off, while Neptune is also retrograde since July 4th. And both will retract once more into Pisces September 1st till February 14th for Saturn, and October 28th until January 26th for Neptune. So there is still old unfinished business to take care of and to release, and to maybe old karma, maybe old patterns that need release, right? So the release is the Neptune part, the transition part is also Neptune. Saturn is the building and the concrete side. You can even say Saturn is form and Neptune is formlessness, right? Or dissolutions of old form and the realization that it's been a delusion, right? It's a disillusionment as well. So all of that is happening now. And what is this? A completely new era is starting, and at the same time, we need to clear the house, so to say. And that's with the retro energy that's coming up. There's actually more retro energy coming up. Chiron will go retro soon, end of July, the 30th, and that's typically from end of July until end of December, in this case January 2nd. So this is all about inner healing, and healing especially of early wounds, and finding a medicine of areas of stepping out into the new, into the unknown, being the hero and being the innocent child, and being bold and present, right? That's very Aries. Finding that medicine within will be the retrograde part. Then we'll have more acutely coming up, Mercury goes retrograde. So today, the 10th, the day of the full moon, is when Mercury went into pre-retro storm. In other words, into this loop, into this U-turn, going slowly, still a little bit forward technically until the 17th when he goes retro, but super slowly, and about to go retro. What does that look like? Here is Mercury in mid-Leo, moving now super slowly, and going from this point retrograde to about 4 degrees of Leo on August 11, and from that point forward again, but now it's sitting there. And stationary Mercury in forward motion before retro and coming out of retro is typically the most critical of the Mercury retro phase. So really watching what's going on, where things are, so to say, misspoken but revealing, and where things come out that are usually concealed. This is very Mercury retro, especially here from the Leo side, because Mercury is per se not well positioned in Leo, because Leo is a lot about the self, is a lot about looking good. And with Mercury retro, the attempt to look good can backfire and be revealing, right? So the truth has to come out beyond the underneath the veneer, and so to say. Then Mercury is the summer super long in retro, as it goes retro and goes forward until early September 5th, I believe, or September 2nd, one or the other, is when Mercury goes, September 2nd, when Mercury goes into practical and very more, Virgo, which is all about common sense, as more about humility also after Leo, right? So Leo wants to shine and wants to get the applause and the attention. And with Mercury retro, we need to also be mindful, right, of this monkey mind that always likes to play and display, but it's actually an ego thing, right? So really what's really underneath is often the need to be seen, totally legitimate, the need to be loved, very legitimate, and then it can take all these various forms, right, with Mercury retrograde. So time to be mindful, time to come to the heart, which is also very Leo, and maybe also to retrieve, reconnect with playful, creative ideas and connections and people, and that side in ourselves, really the inner child, right? For that, fantastic for the month of mid-July till mid-end of August. So what else is on this week? Let me see whether I got something here going on my cheat sheet for the alignments of the week. And then we can go to the current stage of the Cancer Sun being still in Scorpio. Can address that while the computer is waking up. So the Sun is still in the central, here it is. Sun is still in the central part of Cancer, which has a Scorpio undertone until tomorrow, the 11th. And we've seen that since July 1st till the 11th, central part. We've seen a lot of that deep undercurrents. Again, right, Scorpio being ruled by Pluto, which is where the full moon is close to. And we also had the moon in Scorpio going on last weekend. So a lot of processing of themes that, symbolically speaking, family secrets, deep undercurrents in tribes, in associations where we feel we belong, or maybe we don't. How do we really feel is the question with Scorpio. Then, so the moon will go, the sun will go into the last part of Cancer, which has a Pisces undertone, and that's from July 12th till the 22nd on, when the sun enters Leo. So what's that all about? This is a wider, vaster a field of Cancer. Here's where it's about belonging to the all, which can also feel like feeling lost, right? Or abandoned, right? So I'm just floating around here. I don't know where I belong. But it also brings up the deeper spiritual questions, right? And it's often also about mystery, right? The Cancer is also mystery about origin. Where do we come from? Where does it all come from? What is the birthplace of the universe? All these questions, right? They come up and not necessarily answerable, but taking us into a different state of experience. And then we have the we just go here. Yeah, okay. So also this week, of course, super important on Saturday, Saturn day, is when Saturn in early Aries next to Neptune now also goes retrograde, right? This is the actual day. I already referred to it, but here it is also calendar-wise again. So Saturn will technically go retrograde. It's already in this loop, in this turnaround, U-turn. And Saturn will go retro until 27th of November. And so it's an unraveling, it's a backtracking also of manifestation, which can also mean like old karma, old patterns come out. And what do they have to do with? On the juncture of Aries to Pisces, or Pisces to Aries, it's a birthing point, it's an emergence point, but it's also an emergency point, it's also a survival point. So in other words, it could be also patterns around survival coming up for us. Fears, pain, that is Saturn. All karma, all things that are really limiting, and burdens around that. And yeah, things that feel heavy, even depressing, all of that is Saturn. But only to actually unload and take that burden off. Saturn is together with Jupiter, but I would say maybe even more Saturn is associated with the Hindu goddess, so Hindu deity Ganesh, and Ganesh is the remover of obstacles. So to remove obstacle, you have to first identify the obstacle, right? That is very apropos Saturn. So it's a reality check where things feel too tight, too restrictive, too limiting, and then what's required to remove those obstacles. Maybe from the Aries side, maybe a bit of patience, or maybe a bit of more bold action, all depending on the scenario, where your challenge, where your edge is, so to say. And from the Pisces side, maybe surrender, adaptability, going with the flow, all of this. So it's very, I put it more generically because I don't know your situation, and there's a whole spectrum of expressions that apply here. Of course, in a private session, we could pinpoint that very directly, and that's the beauty of that, right? So I invite you, of course, to come for a private session if you feel this is a really prime time for it. And yeah, so with Saturn, then we have now what's with the moon this week, right? So Cancer season ruled by the moon, and the moon in Capricorn just after fullness. Today, the moon will go into Aquarius, as I said before, full circle, right? Tomorrow, the 11th, go into Aquarius. The key point is in the Aquarius moon, on the Aquarius moon days, the conjunction with Pluto. And so the moon will meet Pluto tomorrow afternoon, Pacific Daylight Savings Time, and this is also when we are moving through this birth canal, so to say, of what from a juncture from Capricorn to Aquarius is also, of course, a juncture from the old, from history to the future, and Pluto is also the transformation, the evolution, where humanity is going. So we connect more with that rather than with the old, which we tend to with the moon in Capricorn. Then we have the moon in Aquarius. Sorry. Moon in Aquarius, Gesundheit, I say in German, all day Saturday and Sunday until 4:45 p.m. when she enters Pisces. And we are, remember, also in the Pisces part of Cancer by then. So that will be very Pisces Cancer days, 13th afternoon, all day 14th, and the 15th until the evening as well. It's very much about being in sync, being in flow, and allowing things to come our way, being the blessing, right? So meeting the world in a embracing and connecting way, and with what comes easy also, right? This is very different than the Capricorn energy. Ease and flow and maybe music literally. And anything that is in resonance and where there's no friction, that is Pisces, right? And Pisces is also where the North Node is this year since end of January. And this is the incentive also. Connecting with ease, letting go with love, and being in the flow. Then we have the moon in Aries, so that will be also quite a shift. On the 15th, the moon goes into Aries, and on the 16th, in the morning or overnight, she connects with Saturn and Neptune. That will be quite the um, the accentuation of the Saturn Neptune theme, which is already very acute at this point through the moon. So we're really feeling into it. So something might come up that is really completely new, a precedent, a new situation, or also impulse for us to take a step and get things going, start, begin. The begin is very Aries. Take initiative where you might have held back. And even baby steps matter, right? Then we have the moon in Taurus from the July the 18th, Friday on, pretty much from after midnight all day Saturday until the early morning of Sunday. So Taurus is where the moon's most comfortable. This is very much about joy and nourishing and nurturing experiences combined. So this can literally mean great food intake, picnics with friends, it's summer, slowing down, sitting down, taking in the beauty of life, and also being in nature. And then the moon goes into Gemini. What's the big piece here? The connection with Uranus. So almost each sign has a connection with a slow moving planet or factor, right? Started with Aquarius, Pluto, right? Pisces, North Node, Aries, Saturn, Neptune, Taurus, nothing with Taurus at this point anymore, except Uranus goes back to Taurus eventually, later on this year. And but Gemini is where Uranus is now, activated by the moon on Sunday. So this is all about voice, voicing our values and what we really what really matters to us, and also a diversifying, branching out is very Gemini, and alternatives, right? So it's like not all one way, and it's always been so. Questioning, also questioning maybe the narrative, questioning ourselves, but in a good way, like spiritually inquiring rather than being self-doubtful in a demeaning way, actually being open and open to learn and to change our paradigms and have our minds blown. That's where Uranus in Gemini. Then the moon will be in Gemini still on Monday the 21st. On Tuesday the 22nd, we have the sun going into Leo and the moon into Cancer. By then, where am I now? Okay, wait a minute, I'm going way ahead. It's too funny because I've been late with the Astro video. Now I'm going forward. I'm going ahead. So I was a little bit ahead of it all, going all the way until the 19th, 20th. Never mind. More about that, including the transition into Leo next week, and of course also in the email newsletter which I just finished. Maybe that's what that was. Why I was all ahead of myself. Anyway, must be a reason for it. And I can conclude in this case the Astro News via video, technically going until the 15th when the moon freshly enters Aries, but that's, as I said, we feel it already, the Aries energy through Saturn, Neptune. Okay, that's it for today. I wish you a beautiful week and happy CAPPY Full Moon. Hopefully we see her tonight. Last night was cloudy. And yeah, maybe see each other in community. That would be awesome too. Ciao.